to presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov. Peskov added that Ukraine has not shared any information about its readiness to resume negotiations with Moscow. President Zelensky announced he will travel to Turkey on November the 19th to advance talks on a potential Ukrainian settlement. Ukrainian officials plan to present their ideas to international partners and discuss resuming prisoner swaps. Details on meetings and proposals have not been disclosed yet, however. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is also expected to visit Turkey to meet with Zelensky as part of these discussions. The Kremlin says it will await the outcome of the talks. Okay, we're now joined by Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar. He is a senior strategic and international affairs expert, and he joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Kochar, here on NewsX World. Of course, these diplomatic updates come in the backdrop where Russia is making advances in the Donetsk region. However, the Kremlin citing and giving a quite aggravated response, saying that Ukraine has not shared any information when it comes to readiness about negotiations. How do we see these talks on Wednesday moving forward? Of course, President Zelensky is visiting Turkey, a country that has held these peace talks between Russia and Ukraine previously throughout the years. Do you see there making any progress, given that Russia reportedly has such of an upper hand on the battlefield?
Very interesting because there are two aspects to it. First is the stance of Kremlin with regard to the negotiations, and they are trying to give a political message, because basically it's a political messaging which is taking place now, saying that Kremlin is not actually coming to the table, and Zelensky is not coming to the table, and Zelensky is not negotiating. That is point number one. And point number two is that what kind of a dialogue are we expecting? Because Zelensky is quite firm that he will not recognize the capture of land which has already been done by the Russians, and as giving it or as accepting it as a territory lost. So the genuine concern of the Ukrainian is that we are prepared to discuss of Russian withdrawal from our lands. To what extent are they going to withdraw? In what areas are they going to withdraw? So they want to discuss on this. As far as the Russians are concerned, there are certain red lines which the Russians have drawn. And they have very clearly told Zelensky that any talks which govern a return of territory is not acceptable to them.
Yes.
So last time also, if you remember, they had only agreed on the exchange of prisoners, and that exchange of prisoners was done. So what Ukraine is trying to get across these talks is, Ukraine is saying that first agree for a ceasefire. And after you have agreed on the ceasefire, then we can discuss all these land-related issues, sovereignty-related issues. But Russia is not relenting on that, because Russia says that a ceasefire can only happen when Ukraine agrees on all its terms and conditions. So there is bound to be a disagreement, I feel, here. And Trump's statement also does not give us much hope, because Trump is saying repeatedly that Putin is very, very adamant and he's not agreeing to stop this war. And what we are seeing on ground also, Look at ground offensive. Look at the intensity of the offensive because the winters are approaching in, and the Russians also know that they must strike all the energy centers, all the power centers, and they are trying to demolish all these areas so that the maximum pressure is there on the Ukrainian people, and they in turn pressurize Zelensky to come on the table and accept the Russian demands. So this is a psychological war. I feel that it is a war of the minds which is happening right now because they are saying, passing on the buck to the Ukrainians, saying that Ukrainians are not willing to discuss. So therefore, I personally, if I'm analyzing these issues, I'm of the opinion that
Yes.
not much headway is going to come out of these talks.
Yes, Major General Kochar, do stay with us as we have further updates coming out of the conflict coming for our viewers next up. And Poland's Prime Minister has said that an explosion on a railway line near the Ukraine border was an unprecedented act of sabotage and vowed to catch those responsible. He also stated that the actions of Russian services are escalating across Europe and confirmed that Poland is working on using military resources to protect key infrastructure, including the railways. Tusk further revealed that 2 Ukrainians working for Moscow are suspected of carrying out the sabotage, though Moscow denies any involvement. He added that one of the suspects had been sentenced in absentia by a court in Lviv for the same. The blast occurred on the line between Warsaw and Lublin, a key route for aid to Ukraine. A second incident on the same line is also suspected to be sabotage. Authorities have collected evidence from security cameras to identify the perpetrators. Poland has faced previous attacks, including parcel bombs and hybrid threats, which it attributes to Russian intelligence. Officials stressed that anyone involved will be found and prosecuted, calling the act shameful and highlighting the psychological intent to intimidate Poland over its support for Ukraine. Dr. Kochar joins us once again. Of course, Russian espionage and hybrid warfare has become prominent in Eastern Europe. Poland, of course, a NATO country. What are your thoughts on these, of course, reported incidents of sabotage, alleged incidents of sabotage is how I'll put it, by Russian intelligence inside NATO territory here, Dr. Kochar?
You see, these are very important forms of hybrid warfare, and they are a part of the overall strategy or the overall campaign of the Russians. You see this rail line, which is a Warsaw-Ukraine route, is a likely important lifeline for the logistics into Ukraine. So if Russia wants to hamper the movement of logistics or any kind of assistance from the Western countries, which is possibly coming through the Poland route, it is going to disrupt this potentially military, economic, and it is bound to have a political impact. This is what the statement which is emanating from the Polish leader. So this incident actually, if you try to analyze, it fits into a broader hybrid warfare pattern. Sabotage and clandestine actors have been used earlier also in various campaigns, and this is not the first time they have been used in Poland by the Russians. It has been done earlier also. And one important aspect is that Ukrainian people have been used to do the sabotage, so that the culpability of this kind of action does not come on the Russians, because how are you going to prove, or how are you going to tell the world community that it is the Russians' design who have tried to do this sabotage? And therefore, from the strategic point of view, if I actually look from the logistics point of view, these are very, very important decisions to be taken by a country, especially in wartime, for movement of supplies, humanitarian aid, or even the weapon deliveries. So, if you
Yes.
discuss the key line, like the Poland and Ukraine, it can slow down the aid, and it can also impact the Ukraine
Yes.
battle. So I think that let us wait and watch how Poland wants to escalate this issue, because Poland can escalate this issue also, and Poland can uh, take it up as act against the sovereign territory of its own country,
Yes.
or it can be an act of war also. So let us see how Poland is going to aggravate this issue, because culpability
Yes,
on the
Dr. Kochar.
Russians will be difficult to prove.
Yes, Dr. Kochar.